Hello everybody, it is Liam, the Deaf Doom Metalhead, and I'm back with a new collection update. This time I'm going to include tapes, vinyl and CD into this one because I've got so much stuff to show that I want to talk about, and I've realised I've built up quite a big list. So this is all 2022 releases. I've kind of narrowed it down to I think like 12. I could have gone more, and there's loads of old school stuff I can show. But I want to get this out of the way because these are all great, these are all new. And hopefully you can watch this, check the links out below, and then you discover some new bands, go support them, you know, the usual stuff that I try and promote all the time. So, without further ado, we'll kick off. This is only one vinyl in this video, and it's a mecca of albums. Like, this is easily going to be, I mean, I dare say top 5, because I've listened to this a lot, and it's an album that I did not expect anything from. I actually knew nothing about it prior to even picking it up. I knew the chap behind it. It's a one-man project here in the UK. And it totally surprised me, and that is the new Listless Heart album. This is Pilgrims on the Path of No Return, excuse me, put out through Hammerheart Records this year. And this is quite a new release actually. This is, I mean, I've had this, I got like a PR email a good while ago, so I've listened to this a lot, so it's not like I've just had it for a couple of weeks and think, oh, it's the best album ever. I've had it for a while, but I now have it physically. And right, how do I describe this? So this is all done by Simon Bibby, who lives in Derbyshire. This is his debut album of this project. He's been in the music scene for years, in various other projects in the past, but this is his own work here, and he's incorporated some amazing musicians into it, and he's created a timeless classic, I dare say it, because this is a very, very strong album. This is a doom album. It's not a doom death album, it's not a death doom album. It's got death kind of growls into it, but they're used to add a texture to the music. They're not used as a source of heaviness or nothing like that. It's kind of, this is a very depressing album that describes a lot of emotion, and it's a very, very good album. I mean, like Simon's vocals, I'll start with that. So he's an amazing singer. Like, his vocal style is totally different to what I am used to or what I expect, but the emotion in the vocal, in the lyrics, and the way he carries the songs, it's fucking incredible. Like, I really, really like, I mean, I can't remember what it was, like the Precipice, that's it. That chorus where it talks about stepping down from it, and it was in my head for days. And I can sing it to you now, but I'm not, because you'll laugh at me. And then side B comes off of a track called Confessions, which I probably would say is the heaviest track on this album, and it features Greg Chandler from Esoteric. He's the one that mixed and mastered this album as well, and you can really tell because he did the Consecration one, and we only can give him what he can work with, but this one's been done all by him, and it's incredible. Like, it's got that esoteric kind of vibe to it, and the tones he uses, and I imagine he's helped Simon a lot with there, and it's just got such a polished sound to it, but not in like a negative way, like in a really good way. Like, it really adds to the depth of this album. It carries the emotions with the effects, the reverbs, everything's on point. There's a female vocalist on here, I can't remember her name, but there's a bit where Simon sings between her, and it's just fantastic. Like, it's such a simple song, there's not much musically going on, but the singing on it is gorgeous, like really, really emotional, and it's just like, fuck me, this is a really, really good album, and I can't recommend this enough. Like, this is nothing I've heard this year comes close to it. Like, the new Ard album, that, another UK like funeral doom band, that was very different, and I still love that album, and those two are now in the same ballpark for me. They're kind of standing out from the pack. And, oh, I mean, you've got the Lewandowski artwork, I think is his name. He's now passed away, sadly, but his artwork is timeless. And you see the cover and you think, yep, I want that. Absolutely incredible, and it fits the album perfectly. And the vinyl, it says it's yellow, but I don't know, I might be colourblind, I don't really know, but I didn't see the yellow in it. It's like a yellow bone splatter, but it looks more brown to me than anything else. So you tell me. If it's yellow, it's a very, very dirty yellow, filthy yellow. But it's such a gorgeous album. I know there's a black variant as well for people like Roger who might watch this. He loves his black wax. But anyway, so here is a picture of Simon and the inlay here. There he is, looking all in the woods, mincing about. And it's just gorgeous. Like, it came with a handwritten note. And you can tell he's an artist because it's just the way he done it. I think this also features Ian Arkley, if you know that chap, who's been in... Oh, what's the band? I can't remember the band. I've played with him before, but he's in loads of Doom bands in the UK, and it's just amazing. I mean, yeah, so you've even got, I must mention him, Paul from Enchantment, the vocalist. He's also on here. He does like a spoken word bit in that Scouse twang accent of his. You've got Ian Arkley, like I said, Sergio Gonzalez, Ella Zotos, I think is her name. She's the one that I mentioned earlier when he's doing like a duet with her almost. It's absolutely amazing. Ben Griffiths on drums. There's a Zara Dana does a cello. There's an Alana Bibby, so I'm assuming that might be his partner or someone, I don't know. But yeah, either way, I'm going off on a tangent. Everything else is done by Simon. And yeah, he's a lovely bloke. And he did me a massive favour holding one on for me, because I was terrified I was going to miss this, because when he announced it was coming out, I'm getting these sort of situations at the moment. I've got to sort kids' birthdays and presents, and he held a copy back for me, so thank you, Simon. And yeah, this is a 10 out of 10, and I'm not even bullshitting, straight up 10 out of 10 album, absolutely amazing. I've already spoke about it for 6 minutes now, so I'm going to move on, because it's fucking awesome. Go check it out, I'll leave a link below. Right, next one, totally different style. So this is black metal, and again, this could be my favourite black metal album of the year. I don't know why I keep saying it the year, because we've got a good 3 or 4 weeks left to surprise myself. But I've been listening to a lot of releases and going back and forth to make sure. And this one I've listened to a lot, and I've had a few of these quite a while now. And this is the new one by Wampyrinacht, if you can pronounce that. This is a Greek black metal band with their second full-length album called Night of Desecration. This is put out through Iron Bonehead Records. And again, this is another album that's just absolutely, totally different to what I've heard this year, especially in the black metal realm, where a lot of albums kind of blend into one. You might even hear some black metal in the background. It's very, you know, you don't even know what's going on really. But this one, it goes off on little directions that you don't expect. So it's got the very Greek sounding like black metal with almost like a death metal tinge to it here and there, and then there's some really nice atmospheric moments, and then there's some kind of like David Gilmour-esque like guitar work, like leads with like kind of big long instrumentals. Then there's some shreddy solos in there, which I absolutely love in black metal, when you can kind of incorporate guitar solos into it, because a lot of bands don't do that. I mean, the artwork is incredible, and I nearly was tempted to pick up the vinyl copy of this when I found it, but I can't do that. But you can, so go do it. But yeah, it's an amazing album. So the band was formed in Greece in '95, but this is only their second full length for 2022. And they are the two chaps there behind the project. And I can't stress how good this is as well. This is another one with absolutely fantastic, just well written musically. And it's interesting. It doesn't kind of just go to merge into the whole blast beat, screechy bloke in the background with loads of effects. This is more of a musically, like, you know how you get like Dissection and stuff like that, where it's all about the riffs, and how those albums have so much atmosphere and the melodies and stuff like that. This is in that kind of ballpark where it's very memorable in the riff section. Like I said, there's great solos, there's really nice instrumental sections, and like the start of it just kind of builds it up, and then it just, yeah, fantastic album. Can't stress how good this is as well. So go and check this one out. And I imagine a few people haven't, because I had never heard of them prior to this, and I kind of blindly bought it because I like the cover, because it's got some naked lady on it, I guess. But yeah, go check it out. Really, really good album. Right, I'm going to show you some cassettes now, because I haven't done that in ages. Now my tape deck is broken, so I've had to stream nearly all of these since I bought them, because it plays for about 20 seconds, then the tape kind of jams up. So I don't know how to fix it. I tried fixing it and I gave up, lost my temper. So here we are. So this was actually gifted to me by my good friend John. I will leave a link to his YouTube channel. He's a great YouTuber who is Welsh, so I do commiserate him for losing to Iran in the World Cup today, but then we didn't beat the USA, so I can't really brag. But this is the new Druid Lord album, Relics of the Dead, that he kindly sent to me, and I really appreciate that. I have told him, but I haven't been able to show it yet, because I can't listen to it, but I've been streaming it to talk about it. So this is a 2022 album from these Florida veterans. They have been around since 2010, and this is their third full length this year. tape looks like that, which was put out through the very popular label. I think this is through actually a Hell's Headbangers release, and they are obviously a hot topic at the moment on YouTube if you know Metal Mickey. And yeah, absolutely amazing band. I love these guys. They have very much a Hooded Menace kind of style to their doom, but also they incorporate a lot of incantation in their sound as well, so it's not straight up Hooded Menace rip-off worship. It's more, they blend the best of both bands to me. Like, they've got that really gritty death metal style, and then they incorporate a lot of epic doom kind of riffs into that style. I love them, absolutely love them. The artwork's killer, and I really want to get this on vinyl. And I've put it on my shopping list for Christmas or birthday, which is in February, so hopefully I'll get it. But either way, I can't thank John enough for sending me that, because there's an album that has avoided me for ages and the CD just vanished. But he kindly sent me this, so I mega appreciate that. But not also I picked up the Gurgling Gore release, which was the split that was put out for the 2 EPs from, I think these came out in 2012 and 2013. So you got the Barren Blood EP and then the Druid Death Cult EP, all on one tape. There's a slipcase like that, black plain case, and I think there's a blue tape you can get as well, but I've got this red one here, which looks shit hot. And yeah, I mean, they're an amazing band. They're like I said, you get pretty much more of a grittier sound on this one because they're EPs. Whereas that 2022 release is kind of bigger sounding and, you know, a bit more epic. But yeah, wicked release from Gurgling Gore. They always put out good stuff, and they always do it really arty as well, which I love. Can't get enough of that label, if you can find it over here. So yeah, Druid Lord, well worth your time if you've never checked this band out, but they are very popular now, so I imagine you have. So yeah, again, thank you, John, for that. Right, next one is an EP that totally took me by surprise, and was a band that I was recommended to. Who recommended it to me? It was Carlos from the Death Doom Instagram page. He runs an Instagram page similar name to mine, and over the years I got to know him because he always used to get tagged in posts that were meant for me and vice versa, and he's got way more knowledge than me of the underground Death Doom scene, so he's always a guy I go to actually when I'm looking for some new recommendations, because he can go well out there and he'll know about bands way before they become popular, and this is one of them. That is Ancient Death. And this is their debut EP for this year called Sacred Vessel. This was put out through Rotter Records and Necro Harmonic Records, I think it's pronounced. Now that cover is very, very deceptive because you don't really know what you're going to get. You're going to get either some really lo-fi death metal, or, you know, or black metal maybe. But they're the band on the back there. Now this is a band that formed in 2019 out of Massachusetts, and like I said, this is their debut EP for this year. And you get, I think, 4 tracks, yeah, of just solid doomy death metal. It varies in pace. It's fast, it's slow. It kind of combines everything I love in that kind of underground death metal scene, where you got the kind of doomy passages. They build it with some really morbid kind of eerie lead work over some thick chunky riffs, and then they'll pick it up with some fast kind of blast beat, kind of thrash beats, and yeah, it's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And I really do like this. I mean, this is one that a lot of people I know have kind of eyed up and talked about since it's become kind of more well known in the underground circuit and they've got popular. But I knew about this ages ago, and it was one of those ones I didn't think I'd pick up because it's one of those American releases that kind of, you can get it over in the States. Distro wise over here, you'd be very lucky. But amazingly, Stuart at Aesthetic Death had a few copies in, so he told me he was going to get it in. So I patiently waited, and it appeared. So yeah, go check that out. That's amazing. They're all amazing. Right. Some UK kind of crust-punky, kind of doomy death metal now. This is another band that's totally new to me. Blindly bought off Bandcamp, and it's actually got quite a well-known figure in it. So this is the band Deathfiend. They're a Brummie band. Formed, I don't know when they formed actually, it doesn't say, but this is their debut album for 2022. You get 2, 4, 6, 7 tracks, yeah, of kind of varying styles of like It goes from death metal, it goes doomy, it's got kind of cross punk kind of vibes. It reminds me a lot of the third Valenfire album, if you know that one, where they kind of had that crusty death metal edge to it, but it was also a bit punky, a bit thrashy, but then doomy as well on the side. You know, this has all of that, and it's fantastic. Like, really, really solid album, start to finish. You know, again, a band never heard of them before, and I can't think where I found them. I think I just by chance found them on Bandcamp. Now these guys have one very well known, they're a free piece, and it has Johnny Doom as the vocalist, who is the presenter for Kerrang shows as well as Planet Rock shows over here in the UK. So if you know who that is, he is the vocalist behind this band. And yeah, just go check it out and you'll tell me what you think, because when I first heard this, it gave me a lot of strong Valenfire vibes. I think Johnny used to be in the band Doom, who were on the Peaceful label back in the day. I think this must be his project. I mean, I might be dead wrong and someone else has formed it and he's part of it, but it's got that kind of sound to it as well. Like, if you know the band Doom, it's got that vibe as well. But yeah, go check them out. Really, really cool. Really like that one. Back to some black metal, and I love this album. This is another one that I blindly bought just based off the sound of it, and it was fantastic. And I kind of wish, well, I'll tell you why. So this is Trolldom, which is a Swedish black metal band. I won't be able to pronounce the album, so we'll put it down there in the subtitles. Now this guy behind it, I can't even pronounce it. I'm going to say it's Swart Taboos, but it's him there, looking all cold and angry. This is a one-man project, like nearly 90% of black metal bands are, and he's actually put 2 albums out this year through Iron Bonehead, both full lengths. So I'm kind of gutted I didn't pick up the other one now, so I need to get that if I can find it. But this is the other one, and this is like very atmospheric, very icy cold black metal with loads of kind of synthy, icy kind of sound to it. It's the best way I can describe it. It's got that kind of frosty kind of vibe, and it very much reminds me of Emperor. And obviously everybody loves Emperor, so if you've got a kind of comparison there, you're kind of laughing. And he's really good at it. I mean, he's in a bazillion other projects which I've yet to check out, because when you look on Metal Archives under his name, it's crazy, the list. I don't know how he does it, but he does. And this is amazing. Like, I would love to hear the second one now, to see if it's on the same length or it's different, you know, because it's very unusual for a project to put out 2 full lengths in 1 year. And yeah, I mean, this is amazing. It's very atmospheric, but what really sells it is the drums. It's not programmed drums, there's a real drummer on here. And it's done by Kevin Paradis of Benighted, if you know him. So it's very, very blasty, very, very heavy, very epic. And yeah, it's just fucking, whoa. And that really sells it. And then you've got that kind of icy kind of harmonies in there with the synths and stuff like that, and the riffs with the vocals. Everything is perfect, you know. So if you're in that kind of, wanting that raspy, brutal kind of black metal, this is well worth your time. And like I say, it's loads of atmosphere as well. It's not just raw or nothing like that. It's well produced. Yeah, go check it out. Amazing. Excuse me, I'm gonna have to have a drink. Keep burping. Right, back to the cassettes. This is all the CD and cassettes now. So this one is another great album. Or was it an EP? Probably an EP actually. So this is Tomb Sentinel with their EP Perpetual Vice. This is put out through one of my favourite labels, Life After Death, which I'm proud to be on. Now this is their debut EP for 2022. This band are based out of Ohio, formed last year in 2021. And this actually features Devin Swank of the band I can't pronounce it. Sanguish Sugar Bog. There you go. So the vocalist from that band, who you probably know who I'm talking about, is also in this band. And this is like a hardcore crossover death metal band. It's got that kind of like that power trip vibe, but heavier, if you know what I mean. It's got that kind of death metal vibe where it's brutal, there's breakdowns, it's heavy, it's nasty. Tape looks like that. And again, this is another one I picked it up. Was well happy to get it. Got a red shell as well. And then the tape deck died, so I've had to stream it the whole time I've had it. But it's great. I absolutely love it. Life After Death. I mean, I'm proud to be on them. I wouldn't say go pick up my album, but pick up everything else on that label, because they are a great label. Absolutely fantastic. So yeah. this is amazing. Like, you know, no nonsense death metal from America. What more can I say? So go check it out. They're great. Looking forward to a full length. It's too short. Right, now this one's a bit of a weird one. This was put out through the label Everlasting Spew, which is an Italian label. They do some really doomy death bands a lot these days, and progressive kind of technical death metal as well. And this is kind of in between all of those genres, and that is the band Alters with their new album. Can't even pronounce it. Ascetic Reflection. That album cover is amazing. So the artist here did a lot of the Hooded Menace albums, which is quite cool. So this is in a ballpark of, it's a death metal band based out of I think they're Melbourne and Adelaide in Australia, between the two. And these are a cross between like a blackened death metal, but it's very progressive, and there's a lot of time changes, there's a lot of doomy sections in there. And they almost sound like Disembowelment because they're Aussie. You're going to throw that comparison out there. But there's also a lot of rawness to it. It's not like a massive sounding guitars with a really modern sound. It's kind of a more of a raw, kind of blackened sound on the guitars. And the approach to this album, it's very progressive in the drum patterns and the time changes. And it's one of those albums when you first hear it, you're like, okay, I'm liking it, but it's not straightforward, you know, head banging kind of, I know what I'm going to get. It makes you think a little bit, and that's why it kind of stuck in my head, and I've listened to this quite a lot in the car. And it's an album that I blindly bought. I actually snagged this off eBay for like less than a tenner, I think it was. I'm fairly sure the guy selling it didn't know what it was, but I saw the cover and knew it was new. So I put a bid and won, and yeah, amazing album, really, really cool band. And this is only their second full length for this year, so I think there's another one that came out. I mean, they formed in 2005, so I think there's an earlier album, and then they've had a bit of a hiatus, and they've come back with this one for this year. So yeah, go give that a go, see what you think, because that's really heavy, but also quite tricky to get into. Now, this is a Brummy band that I've had this tape for absolutely ages, and I'm amazed I haven't shown it yet, but I'm showing it now. And that is Iron Tomb with their debut Vile Retribution. This is their debut EP for 2022 as well. Band I think only formed like last year, and I think they've only just started gigging as a band when I looked on social media recently. Tape, there's another red tape, and this was put out through, I can't even read that, so I'm going to put the link below because I can't read it, it's very blurry. I didn't write it down. But musically, this is fucking amazing. Like, for an EP, a debut EP, this is phenomenal. Like, for a UK band, again, the UK death metal scene is rife with new bands, new talent. Jay Card has the album artwork like that. And what you get with this is that kind of no-nonsense, very well-produced death metal with a very catchy choruses, very memorable riffs, solos, the lot, you know, it's what was it, Pagan Rule, I think was the first song with a chorus on it and how it builds. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. And it's a band that, again, like, this is only their debut EP, the full length's going to sound fucking huge, because this, I mean, surprised me how well produced this is. It's like a very, very, very well produced EP, and very, very catchy, so go give that a go. I imagine most people have heard of this now, a bit late to the party showing this, but they're an amazing band. And it's wicked to see them doing gigs, because I've seen them on quite a few decent shows as well. So they're obviously doing something right. So yeah, Iron Tomb, wicked stuff. Now this is a funny album, right. So this one was put out through Cavernous Records, and is a no-nonsense, everything horrible in the world death metal band, where it's like murder, necrophilia, all the nasty shit you can think of in horror films. Human Compost do it well. So this is their, what was this, their second full-length album? Yeah, so the band formed out of Canada in 2008, and this is their second full-length album, entitled Descendants of Evil, put out my favourite UK label, Cavernous Records. Where do I start with this? So this, So I try a lot of my albums in the car when I'm working, because it seems to be the norm now. I'm not at home that often anymore, so that's why the kind of content on here is slowed down. But this I had on in the car. I was driving around in the city. It was really busy. It was rush hour. I had the windows down because it was too hot by memory, because of the sun being out and all that kind of thing. It was stuffy in the car. And there's a track on here where the intro is about a woman being strangled, and the bloke wants to tell him that she wants to be fucked by him. And I'm not a horror film fan. I won't pretend that I'm like a big gore fiend or anything like that. And I'm not a fan of the whole sounds of a woman being tortured. I don't know. It didn't sit right with me. But the awkward part is I was in rush hour, sat in the car. I look over because I listen to music quite loud because I'm deaf as fuck. There's people looking at me, isn't there? And and annoyingly, when the soundbite finishes, the song is amazing. Like musically, this band is phenomenal. They're very much a suffocation style death metal band. Riffing has been fantastic. Solos are wicked. You know, really, really catchy. I can't think what my favourite track was now. Where has it gone? I couldn't even tell you. No, Night in the Crypt, actually, I think that's the one. Yeah, that was my favourite. But there's a lot of sound bites on here. Start tracks, some of them are good, some of them are not. And some of the vocals as well, like, they're good, but then he does that kind of pig squeal shit that I can't stand, and that there's some questionable choices for vocal styles on certain songs that kind of ruin the moment for me. But like I say, this is not an album you listen to with kids in the car. You certainly wouldn't drive around in rush hour listening to this, because you'll get caught out like I did and look like a fucking maniac. And even when I skipped it, the next song was the same sort of thing, so it's quite awkward. But musically it's fantastic, and I've listened to this a lot. It's really, really good. So if you like your nasty death metal, you'll get a kick out of it, and if you like your horror films with the nasty sound bites, you'll certainly get a kick out of this. So yeah, go give this a go and see what you think. I can't remember what it must be, the song Erotic Amputation or Defiled, Tortured and Torn Apart. One of those ones I have to fast forward over the woman being choked, because it makes me feel uncomfortable. So I'm a bit of a girl about that. There you go. Right, next, we're getting near the end now. So these next two are through a good buddy of mine. This is by Evan, who lives in Edinburgh. He's also the master behind the band Chestcrush. This is their second release as a band, or third. No, this is his third release actually. This is his second EP, entitled that at the bottom. I can't read it, but it's wicked, doomy death metal. It's fast, it's intense, it's nasty, it's well over the top on the vocals, and I fucking love it. Really, really heavy. And Evan, he uses two other people to help him create this kind of project, and it's just fantastic. The riffs on here are raspy, nasty. What is it? So he's got Robin on drums and the Tobias, I think it's pronounced, on vocals. His vocal range is insane. He sounds like a really angry gorilla doing death metal, and I love it. Absolutely love it. And the artwork as well, Chestcrush releases. Knocked on the floor. This year he's gone with a pressed cassette with a wick. I mean, look how cool that looks. Can't listen to it yet though, but I know it sounds good because I've streamed this a lot. Pick that up. J card is very simple, plain black. I think this was a self-release, this one. I can't really remember actually. I don't think this was put out for a label. And Evan is one of those guys that's annoying because he can write really cool music in his living room, even when he's got a really busy personal life, and still writes great music, whereas people like me, I have to leave the house to even attempt to write a song these days. I just can't concentrate. So yeah, give this a go. When this band was introduced to me, oh, how long ago it must be now? 2 years ago maybe now, through Ken's Death Metal Crypt. And Evan's just gone and grown and grown and grown in the underground scene. He's a big supporter of the underground scene as well. He's not just one of those guys that just makes music and disappears. He's very much vocal, social media wise. So go give him a shout if you've never checked this out before, and support the lad, because he is very, very talented. But not only has he done this, but he's also put out this in the same year. So this is his other side project he's just started called Caustic Phlegm, and they're polar opposite in the death metal realm, but this is far more underground, cult, raw, nasty death metal. I mean, this is proper if you have a really rough night and you're vomiting and shitting at the same time, it's that kind of vibe. It's horrible. So this is Caustic Phlegm with Putrefying Flesh. Now, this was a label release. I won't know what it is, but it's down the bottom, you can read it. Another pressed cassette with a print on it, which looks awesome. But this is really lo-fi. I mean, this really surprised me because I wasn't sure what to expect with this. I kind of blindly bought it because I 100% support Evan's music, no matter what it is. So I'll be looking forward to the Britney Spears cover albums it'll put out without telling anyone. But hey, either way, it's just wicked. I mean, he's another guy, you know, can write this kind of music. I mean, when he's telling me about this and how he got it, he just sent it randomly to one person, and then from that he got like 8 or 9 different labels offering him to put this out. So that's really, really cool. And like he said, he just records this in his living room. Yeah, and I'm fairly sure with the Chestcrush stuff he does the same thing. He just records most of it at home and then gets it sent off to other people to make it sound massive. This though does sound like it's been recorded in the living room, but it's still great and I love it. You know, it's just so simple as well. It's just silly. So if you haven't checked that out, go do that. That track on this album is really weird. It's like some German lady, if you can hear it. I don't know what she's saying, but it's fucked up. Right. Last album is a black and death metal band out of Texas, which you don't normally hear. This is the band Trenchant with their debut for 2022. Now this band is very, very hard to find on social media. I'm fairly sure they don't have a social media page, so I will link it on Bandcamp. It's just put out through Gods of War Productions, which is a fantastic label out of Poland. But these boys are in a fair few other side projects out of Texas, and this is a very much a war-themed black and death metal band. And where to start with this one? So the reason I even picked it up was the artwork. I mean, look at that. How fucking cool does that look? You get this really nice thick little booklet with the lyrics and full colour art, and it's just wicked, absolutely wicked. Each track has different artwork, but what's cool about this is very blasty, but the drums sound like a machine gun, you know, like a Gatling gun going off on a trench. It has that vibe with the way the snare sounds and the blasts. It does have that kind of Gatling gun kind of sound to it, and it really adds to the atmosphere. And I love it. Look at that. I absolutely love the artwork. But this is a 3-piece, and just no nonsense, heavy, riffy, like black and death metal. They're the boys there. And yeah, it's just fantastic. Really surprised me. Again, blindly bought, not really knowing what I was going to expect. I knew it was kind of black and death metal, but I kind of bought it more for the artwork, and it wasn't that expensive. And yeah, I can't stress again, this is a fantastic little release. And so it's quite long as well. I mean, there's like 9 tracks as well, so you're getting your money's worth. It's not like a short little thing. Each song can last about 4 or 5 minutes, and it's just really heavy, really blasty. And yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So yeah, that's the last one for this video because it's already half an hour. Trenchant. So yeah, thank you if you're watching this all the way to the end. I'm a bit out of sync with YouTube at the moment, so I'm kind of worming my way back through it. But big old stack of releases, tapes, vinyl, Simon's album, fantastic. I will leave links to everything below. If you are new to the channel and you've got to the end and you can put up with me talking absolute bollocks, please consider subscribing. I will leave a link below to everything. But please comment as well and like the video, and I will chat to you there and see what you think. Take care. Cheers.